Welcome to Breaking the Cycle of Poverty, featuring Jay Height, Executive Director of Shepherd Community Center in Indianapolis. On this episode, Jay interviews Phil Powell, Executive Director of the Indiana Business Research Center, on the economic impact of Shepherd's work in the community. Jay, will you tell our listeners a bit about what they're going to hear from Dr. Powell?
Well, there is an economic return to the investment that we make in lives of those we serve. And we wanted to go to a third party, someone who has that ability. They do this all the time for businesses and other organizations across the state. And Phil has led the research to say, here's the impact your dollar will have times 200 in the lives of kids in the Near East Side.
Thank you, Jay. Here are Jay and Dr. Powell.
Hi, I'm Jay Height here with my friend Dr. Phil Powell, who is an economist that works at IU. And Phil, we've been friends. I think the first time we met was the day the bottom dropped out in 2020, like in March.
Yes, it was an hour later after I walked out of your office that we decided to close down the spring semester for 2020.
Yeah, and we all thought we had to hang on till Easter. We just didn't know it was Easter 2 years later. But you have looked at all kinds of research in your lifetime. You and I have been talking about what is the economic return? Where is the value? When someone gives $1 to Shepherd Community and we invest that in a kid's life, why don't you talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. So if I'm a philanthropist, or if a nonprofit seeks donors, from an economist perspective, a donor's going to want to maximize the impact they have, right? And so the same concepts from business apply to philanthropy. Is if I give you $1, how much benefit are you going to generate for the people that I want to impact, right? So let's take third graders. We just did an analysis based on the results from a third grader going through Shepherd versus going to IPS, right? And of course, the value that Shepherd adds because of the classes and the mission and the resources that you have, the rates you graduate probably about 40% of your third graders, or no, 60% based on the recent data that was given to me. In 2022, 60% of your third graders read at proficiency, read at grade level, and in Indianapolis Public Schools it was just under 10%. So an interesting question is, what is the economic value of that going to be? Well, one way we measure that is in terms of lifetime income, right? How much is the fact they come out of Shepherd reading at grade level versus if they went to another school system and didn't? What does that mean in terms of their lifetime income? Now, when you run those numbers, you basically get a number, and that's kind of the value add, right? And that's going to be the social rate of return. And basically, if you run those numbers and you compare, and what we do is we quantify, if we were to give that pile of cash to the third grader to then invest for the rest of their life, relative to how much it cost. At Shepherd, you're looking at least 200 or 300% rate of return if somebody pays for a third grader to go through Shepherd versus what it costs to deliver.
Well, we have a lot of folks who make that happen. And part of our commitment this is our 39th year. And so we're in this time of looking to our anniversary, our 40th anniversary next year, but it's really about what's the next 40 years going to look like. And the reality is we want every third grader in our neighborhood to thrive. And so we're putting more resources and more personnel into IPS to help change that numbers.
That's good.
And as well as the kids who come here to our academy, if you're in our neighborhood, we want quality educational seats, and we want that rate of return to be for all of them. What's the difference as it relates to if they go vocationally versus if they go to college?
We know right now you're seeing this huge explosion in opportunity for the trades. And actually you can make very good money.
That's right.
By having a trade that has skills that are in high demand. Plumbers, welders. And actually, you can get in those kind of jobs right now, you can make more money, have a higher personal rate of return than if you go to college and pick certain majors. So, and a lot of what's driving this is the fact that we have the baby boomers are leaving in the trades in droves. And it was the baby boomers that went into the trades much more than successive generations. So we see this huge explosion in opportunity for the trades and vocational. And so the expansion of investment by the state in putting a bigger spotlight on opportunities in the trades while you're in high school is a really good investment for the state of Indiana. But your child does not have to go to college to make a good living, and that's good news.
Yeah, the state has historically been very supportive of students wanting to go to college.
Right.
A lot of them go to IU. Kids, we've recently highlighted Jonathan Batista, who's an IU grad and now works for the state and is on a trajectory to do very well. And we're proud of him. The state came out with things they call CSAs.
Oh, I'm a big fan.
Yeah, and so Shepherd is an intermediary. We're helping make those connections between the employers and to the students and figuring out what's it going to take. And part of what we're saying to employers, I had a breakfast meeting with an employer this morning and said, we can't wait till 11th and 12th grade.
No.
We need to, 4th, 5th, and 6th grade, help them begin to explore. Do you want to go to college? Do you want to go into vocation? Do you want to work with your hands? Do you like to be a mechanic? As you can tell, I could not fix a thing, or I would even be in worse shape. But there are folks, and some of these young people are very skilled. Whether they want to work at McAllister Machinery or O'Brien Toyota, these partners of ours. And the state has given us the money that can help do away with the barriers. And what I'm really excited this last session, and we appreciate the support of so many, Speaker Houston and others who made it happen, was we can help pay for driver's ed.
Oh, wow.
And so, we've invested so long, as you were alluding to earlier, and then they get to high school, and when you and I were turning 16, the day before, I was already camped out at the driver's ed, ready to go. My parents weren't, but I was. But today we have many of the kids who get hired at O'Brien Toyota don't have a driver's license. Well, it's essential, one, to get to their employment, but many of the jobs require that. And we appreciate the state helping to invest in those who choose to go in.
The career scholarship accounts can be as powerful as a student loan.
Yes.
And the good news is that the CSAs are not, you don't have to pay it back.
Right.
You put money in the hands of the parents and the child to, not have to wait till 18, but to invest time that would otherwise be at school, building up their skills that are going to be marketable. And they can come out and make a good income a couple years before if they'd graduated college. So these career scholarship accounts are a huge positive innovation for our state. And I've encouraged our lawmakers and our decision makers in the governor's office to broaden that type of instrument, because it's good for Indiana and it broadens opportunity for especially households that are find themselves challenged by the current economy.
This is, as I grew up, I helped with my parents. Sometimes they would need me to do something or to pay for something, and had a job from 7th grade on. I think it's great for our students. We want them working. I was driving down the street today and I saw a bunch of our high school students out cleaning up Washington Street. I'm sure they love that, but it's a good project for them to feel pride in their community and to work, and then we pay them for that. It's getting them working, doing internships, or starting their own business. And we have 3 young folks who in the last 2 years have started their own business, and they're killing it.
That's great.
And one young man, he just needed, we invest $5,000 in them. So it's sort of like Shepherd Shark Tank. And he started a mobile bike repair. And I think it's more and more, these are ways that we can help a working person that brings in their own income feels better about themselves.
Jay, to your point, it doesn't take a lot of money.
Right.
It doesn't take a lot of resources. Just a little bit of push, a little bit of resources can go a long way, because when you're in high school, you're a sponge. And with a little bit of ingenuity, a little bit of creativity, a little bit of leadership like we're seeing here at Shepherd, you can change that trajectory for a student that will mean hundreds of thousands of dollars in terms of their lifetime income. And and we're seeing at Shepherd, we're seeing that even start with just the fact that if you have the privilege of coming through these doors and have an elementary school, you guys are impacting lives to the tune of hundreds of thousands of dollars in lifetime income, and the data shows it. And so a lot of these kids aren't going to go to college.
That's right.
And they shouldn't have to go to college, right? We shouldn't think in a binary fashion. Either, oh, you're stuck with trades, like only those that go to college are going to be successful. The economy's changing.
Right.
And actually, the artificial intelligence and some of the changes that we're seeing in industries across the board actually increase the amount of money you can make with an associate's degree. Or just, following your interest after high school, earning some credentials, and just having a hard work ethic. I would, what's better for the economy? A college grad who doesn't have a work ethic? Or someone that has just a few educational credentials out of high school, but is willing to work hard and provide for their family? The latter is much better for our economy than the former.
Yeah, the credentials, helping them earn things. One, it helps their self-esteem. It creates a future orientation. I was talking with some of our leadership in IMPD and just talking about the tragedy of the youth violence, and I said, it's not a police issue. In talking with high school students, what we hear is when I get shot and if I make it to 19. And well, part of this whole process and what CSAs are doing is they're creating a future orientation and saying, you know what, Phil, you can have a future. When you get done being this professor, we'll find you a job, and you can do it, and we're going to help you do it. We're going to remove the barriers, but you're going to do it because you can do it. And
changing belief doesn't require a lot of money,
right.
But it requires a lot of care and love and energy on behalf of surrounding these students so they can believe in themselves. And that's what Shepherd does really well. And when they, when in their community, it's not easy to find. And so helping Shepherd do that, the economic value of that is multiples in terms of value. And it doesn't cost a lot of money.
Well, they say numbers don't lie, but there's a story that's being told, and we're trying to be the best stewards. But the return is going to be seen in the lifetime of those that we're investing in at an early age. And we can determine how they're doing at third grade and fourth grade and fifth grade as a predictive way to say, yes, we're headed in the right trajectory. It's why we're trying to grow our services with elementary kids, because they need that foundation so that they can catapult into the future they have.
Jay, as an economist, I've studied this question of economic development for 30 years. It's been my area of scholarship, whether it's a country abroad or it's a community here in Indiana. And I always get the question, what is the best way for government? What is the most effective, efficient way for government to make investments that reverse poverty? And it's investing in young children. Because in fact, studies show that even nursery school, preschool, that those government programs have the rate of return on those are in the thousands of %, because that's where you change. That's where you can intervene and change a person's life trajectory before it gets too far, where it gets really, really expensive to reverse those trajectories and to re-educate folks about where they can take their lives. But Shepherd's in the right place, having a huge impact, and I'm proud to be a part of it.
Well, and I appreciate your research, and as that research helps drive us, as we say, more kids, great partnership with IPS, we're going to have quality educational seats, and in 5 years we'll be talking about how we've raised the level for every kid in this neighborhood, and then we'll change. That's how you change youth violence, is to give hope at an earlier age and give them the tools to succeed. Dr. Powell, I appreciate your time, appreciate your research. If anyone is interested, you can email me at jh@shepherdcommunity.org, and I'll send you some of the research that Dr. Powell has provided for us. Thank you.
Thanks, Jay.
I appreciate Dr. Powell and his time, his research, and his efforts to help us tell the story of the amazing things volunteers and staff are doing each and every day.
For 39 years, Shepherd Community has made a lasting difference in the lives of thousands and thousands of neighbors. The Shepherd team couldn't do that work without the support of donors, partners, and volunteers. To learn more about how you can help, please visit shepherdcommunity.org. Thank you for listening.